Quiet on set.
Rolling. Action.
Hello.
Welcome back to another episode of Uncut, and welcome back to another movie review. Today we're talking about The Black Phone, this film that was famous because of its book and then became famous because of its movie, and it's amazing thriller, murder, mystery, trauma stuff.
Yeah, speaking of the book, if any of you have ever read it, let us know what you think about it. I personally bought the book. I just haven't had a chance to actually get to read it. So I'm curious to see what you guys think about the comparison. If you think the book was better, if you think the movie was better. I'd love to hear your opinions. But without further ado, let's get into what this movie was about. So it originally...
Quick disclaimer, if you hear any loud noises, it's early in the day and my family is still out and about and they're being loud.
Ish.
So just yeah.
Yeah, so this movie came out on June 24th. It was directed by Scott Derrickson, distributed by Universal Pictures. It said it got $150 million at the box office, which is pretty good. And the original book was written by Joe Hill, in case you want to know the original author. So this movie stars Ethan Hawke as our grabber. That's what this guy, the main villain, is called. And then we have our main character, Finney, played by Mason Thames. His friend Robin, played by Miguel Cazares. Another kid. We get a lot of kids here. But Finney's younger sister, Gwen, is played by Madeline McGraw. And yeah, I think those are the main names. We also have the grabber's brother, who makes like a brief appearance towards the end, Max, and that is played by James Ranson. So without further ado, let's get into what this movie is about. So I have a quick little plot summary that I found from IMDb that I think goes into some really good details.
Sure.
So it says, in 1978 in Denver, the siblings Finney and Gwen Blake live with his widower, alcoholic father, Terrence. They miss their mother, who had psychic abilities and committed suicide. Finney is bullied at school by three mates, but his friend Robin defends him. When a child abductor known as the Grabber kidnaps a boy named Bruce, Gwen has a dream and mentions reference to black balloons, unknown by the public. Detective Wright and Miller come to the school to interview Gwen, but they do not believe in her statement. But when Finney is abducted by the Grabber, he is locked in a soundproof basement and learns that the black phone on the wall is disconnected. But out of the blue, Finney receives phone calls from the beyond.
Now I think the movie is good from the get-go anyways. But I think this is the point at in which the movie actually starts being really, really good.
Yeah.
Because he starts interacting with people that were also victims of the Grabber. And they're helping him in different ways. And at some points it might seem like this is not really helping because he couldn't actually escape by doing this. But it helps afterwards when he has to finally escape.
I don't know about you, but when I watched the trailer, I was under the assumption that this was going to be horror. I knew there might be like a few supernatural elements, but I thought there was going to be like a lot of jump scares, a lot of terror.
There were a couple.
There was a couple, but it was definitely more true crime focused than on the ghosts. It's like the ghosts that he was able to speak to were not
Scary ghosts.
Yeah, sometimes they had a jump scare too, but they weren't.
Casper?
Yeah, they were just trying to help him.
Yeah.
And they were all trying to help him in ways that they personally tried to escape, as well as giving him pointers like, hey, like, don't go up the stairs, or he's doing this on purpose, or that sort of
Which
thing.
actually saved his life.
It saved his life all around. And so while some of the ideas that they had to escape didn't necessarily work, it kept him alive, which was one of the most important parts. Is staying alive as much as possible. And then we have this side plot with the sister of her having psychic abilities, which I don't think I really got from the trailer. But it's not one of those things where like the suspense of disbelief or something like that. Like, it doesn't seem like, oh, this couldn't have happened. Again, it's not really focused on the supernatural elements of it, but she very clearly has this sort
She
of
dreams about it.
connection.
And it's actually established that their mom could also do this kind of stuff, because the dad is always like, you're not your mom, you cannot do this.
Exactly.
Dream action, that you see things that actually happen. So that's like a big part of the plot, in how the dad is not like supportive, and it's also kind of aggressive. throughout the movie.
Aggressive, but then at times you can sort of understand why he's like that, because as stated, the mom committed suicide, and it seemed like he mentioned something about things getting really bad with the mom. Maybe she was behaving differently, behaving poorly, and maybe he saw those abilities kind of wear her down to the point where she felt like she needed to commit suicide. So potentially he was acting more out of fear, because you can tell at the end that he genuinely loves both Finney and Gwen. He's so happy when Finney is found. He doesn't blame Finney for getting kidnapped at all. He's apologizing profusely. I think he was just scared of them ending up like their mom, but I think...
Because he did mention, like, this is... Your mom ended up like this because of what she was going through. So he didn't want his kids to go through the same stuff.
But then knowing that Gwen was actually helping to find Finney, I think that's when a lot of things changed for him. I love the setting. I think it fits perfectly within that setting. We've always heard that, like, the 70s and the 80s and whatnot were, like, perfect for serial killers.
Obviously, there's the bike stuff.
Yeah. So it fits it perfectly. And the way that the kidnapping sequence went about is actually something that I've been told of, like, do not help a stranger when you're walking by yourself, or do not help them load something into their car if you're alone and you're a kid, because why would they ask a kid for help? Like, they're not going to do that. The balloon thing was kind of interesting. At times I was like, Finney, like, what?
It was more like a staple for him.
Yeah.
Because many killers, like the Zodiac Killer, I believe, will leave notes and things like that. So I think his staple was, I throw balloons whenever I do it.
Where the kidnapping actually happened, But so there was times where I was just like, Finney, I know that you can tell that Finney's alert is up, but he's not acting on that. And I think that is like a good message to us as the audience. Act on the things that you know are weird or suspicious. If a guy pulls up in a dark van next to you, maybe you should start going away. Maybe you shouldn't entertain that at all.
Now, the thing is, back in the 70s, I don't think it was a known thing that kidnappers were in black bands. I think right now it's almost a meme.
Yeah.
In which if you see a black band, it's like, oh no, I'm gonna be kidnapped.
Well, that's back actually more like a white van, but...
Well, both. Either or, honestly. But back then, I don't think it was the same thing, because the internet wasn't around, so they wouldn't even be able to know.
So I remember my mom mentioning, like, what her childhood was like growing up, specifically in the 70s and 80s, and she was like, you know, like, you kept your doors unlocked, you were able to go down to the store by yourself at 6 years old, like, there was just not nearly as much of a concern for the kids' safety, and so I think it took a lot of kids ending up in very bad situations for people to be like, oh, maybe I should be a significantly more helicopter parent than I was before, because bad people are literally everywhere. It doesn't matter what age you are at all, but in this scenario, at least keep an eye on your kids.
Now, one of the things that was pretty interesting is that the brother of the grabber was actually, he was just visiting, he was there for the weekend or something like that. He was actually trying to solve the mystery of who the grabber was. While his brother was in the other room next door.
He had all the post-it notes, all the information about where they were kidnapped. Like, he was, like, actively, like, oh, you guys are the police, you're asking about it? Like, I'd love to help out. Like, and he was, like, really into it. But now, he had no idea that his brother was.
Can I go on to the ending and what we discover about the house?
Oh, yeah.
So at the very end, the sister sees in her dream her brother getting out of this house and calls to the police, and it's like, this is the house, I know he's there, go in there. What happens is amazing, because the police goes into that house, which is empty to begin with, and start finding nothing pretty much. And towards the end of their search, they actually find a secret door that leads them to the basement, and I believe that might have been actually the same house with where the brother met with the police initially, and when they went to the basement, there was not what we had been seeing throughout the entire movie. It was actually the bodies of the other kids that were killed. They were put in that basement.
Because you think throughout the whole movie that Finney is being held in this one house that Gwen is also seeing the outside of. But the whole thing is that the grabber owns both of these houses, one across from the other. He kills the kid in his normal house in the basement,
And puts
and
them
then
in the
puts
next
their
one.
body and buries them at this vacant house across the street. So that was like the biggest reveal, because it's at the most intense part of the film when Finney is actively trying to escape / killing the grabber for kidnapping him. And so you think the police are going to walk in on him killing him.
Yeah.
But instead the police find the graves of all the boys that the grabber has taken, and then you see Finney.
Wait.
What?
Before that, so the whole escape, how it went down, is started by the brother of the grabber finding out that his brother was the killer.
Yeah.
And going down to the basement, finding yet again his other secret door to the basement. He goes down there and he's like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna save you." Here comes the grabber behind him, axes him in the head, kills him.
One of the
There.
most insane kills. I
Yes.
gasped loudly when
That was
happened.
actually really crazy. And
Yeah.
then he brings the dogs down, but then Finney actually has all of these different things that he had. For example, carved out the floor, and he had gotten, I think it was like meat from a refrigerator that he carved out.
He
a
also
door
took the
to.
phone and packed it
Yes.
with dirt, I believe, and was able to make that into like a makeshift weapon to
That he actually practiced with, because one of the helpers, his actual friend in real life
Robin.
when he was alive, taught him how to
Yeah.
actually fight with that phone. He was like, step back, punch, something like that. So he started using these things to his advantage. And when the grabber tried to kill him, he fell on the hole that he had carved out through and killed him with the phone while he was on the floor.
Yeah.
And then threw the meat so the dogs will go the other way and wouldn't kill him. And that's when he walks out of the house.
It's just, I thought it was really well done, because I remember seeing an interview with Jordan Peele just the other day, actually, where he was talking about how the way you build up a horror movie is you give them all of this suspense, and then at the very end is when
You
you
send
have
it
that
other way.
climactic moment, you reveal the monster. So I think this movie did really good job of building in all the suspense, where you're meeting all these ghost children that are giving him all these different ideas. And then at the very end, he uses all of those ideas, sort of like this one big collection of just anger and rage and technique to kill him at the end. And what was really well done, too, was that all of the phrases that the kids have been saying to Finney this entire time gets repeated
Yep.
to the grabber
Oh, that
at
was
the
insane.
end, where it's almost like they were saying the words to the grabber the whole time. Because it said that the grabber could, hear the black phone in the basement ringing.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to believe it. But really, I think a lot of that had is like his guilty conscience creeping back up on him, the ghosts of the kids that he murdered creeping back up on him, to then end his life at the end.
I just think it was a really well done. I mean, because throughout the entire movie, we actually, he kidnapped the kids. But other than that, he hadn't done really much anything to show us how bad he could be.
We never saw the kids being murdered. We never saw
He never punished Finney.
violence in that
No.
sense. I mean, you saw the ghost children, and so you could assume
for
that
sure.
something bad happened. You could see their wounds, or they could somewhat describe how
Mm-hmm.
they died. But I think that's what made the movie even scarier too, is because your
you don't know
mind
what's gonna
is just going to
happen.
think of all the different ways these poor kids could have been killed, and how
Because his
Finney
whole
could get
thing
killed,
is
too.
that he wanted to punish bad kids. So he was waiting for them to try to escape, which in his head will be bad behavior, to then punish them, aka
Yeah.
kill them. But throughout the entire movie, he was just giving them food and giving them soda and leaving the door halfway open so he could escape and then punish him.
It's a game.
And that's what sets him up,
It was a game for him. Yeah.
which is really mind-bending.
But yeah, overall, I really liked this movie. I was super scared going into it. I think you noticed. I was like, oh, I don't want to see this movie. I'm scared. But I ended up really enjoying it. It wasn't nearly as horrifying. It was definitely like it satisfied
Tense.
the true crime
Yeah.
forensic file thing that you get,
But yeah,
Yeah.
you were earlier today. You're about to mention how at the end Finn walks out of the house and he sees his sister across the street and the
Such a
police
sweet
coming out of the
scene.
house in front of him, and then they hug and he's like, "What?" And he starts telling them, and yeah, I think it's great. Great ending for sure.
I really liked it. I mean, I know it can be hard at times to know that the majority of the film is happening in a basement, but I promise you, it was still a really enjoyable watch. I felt very concerned for Finney.
Want to go into reviews?
Yeah. So this first one I have is from RogerEbert.com. It's not like loading properly, so I can't see how many stars they gave it. Let me see.
Now, I think initially this movie had a 100% in Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, when it first came out, yeah.
It's gone down to like 89 or something like that, which is still pretty good. But initially, I believe it had 100%, and they were actually trying to, advertise themselves based on that fact.
Yeah. So it says here, stylistically, the film is nostalgic, reminiscent of vintage photographs in the era of striped baby tees, flared jeans, and the Ramones. Warm browns and oranges, film grain, and filtered light flood the screen, but this idyllic 70s suburbia is corrupted by Derrickson's horror. The only interruption of the otherwise consistent color scheme is the vibrancy of blood and the neon of police lights, making these moments all the more jarring. The weathered concrete of the basement is painted with brushstrokes of rust and blood, an evidential mural of violence unfettered. The upbeat 70s soundtrack is interrupted by a bassy, resonant score that reverberates in your ribs, sinks into your eardrums, and at times sounds like you're hearing it from underground in the grabber's basement. The film's opening credits flash through a nostalgic B-roll of the halcyon? Okay, I don't know how to say that. Everyday occurrences of suburban youth, popsicles, baseball games, and sunny avenues, only to be interlaced with the vision of bloody knees and stacks of missing persons posters. The juxtaposition of calm and collection being faced forward while violence festers underneath is not only stylistic but thematic. It goes on to say, Derrickson and Cargill crafted a nuanced, multi-layered narrative that takes horror elements and supports them with a tentative discussion of cycles of abuse, trauma, and the bond of youth. Hawk's grabber is characterized by a personality reversal. His faux jolly disposition flaunts animated mannerisms and a high-pitched voice. It's eerily childlike, hitching itself to a suggestion of trauma-based age regression behavior and juxtaposing with the adult-like profanity and maturity with which the kids speak. But the zany Harlequin act is fleeting, leaving Finney at the mercy of a total change, a husky, deep tone, a voice, and unforgiving, violent demeanor. I really liked Ethan Hawke in this film. I think he did amazing with that. And yeah, you almost feel like you're walking on eggshells when he's on the screen, because even though his mask changes, I think like 3 to 4 times, you still never know if he's like happy, sad, manipulating you, lying to your face. It was amazing. Though he was hesitant to play a villain, Hawke more than succeeds, and the emotional, dramatic acting that laid the foundation for his celebrity translates perfectly to an adversarial role. Yeah,
you said that he was hesitant to play a villain?
Apparently.
Which is interesting, because now he actually played the villain in Moon Knight. Which is another great job.
They mentioned that earlier in this review as well.
Another great job for him.
But yeah, so it says, finally, the gore is secondary to the story, with character development taking first string, but by no means does the film neglect to thrill. Rather, it's your care for Finney and the intensity of the film's skillfully crafted suspense that draws your knees to your chest and your nails to your teeth. I love that. I totally agree. It was really great. But the second one from the Rolling Stone that I have here says, "Who wants a lazy serial killer thriller?" Ethan Hawke gets to play ultra creepy in this 1970s throwback horror film, but everything else makes you want to call 911 on this missed opportunity. That's how it's titled. Let me find.
I was about to say it's really hard to hate on it, but I don't know. I think the better you are, the more haters you're gonna have.
I mean, yeah, I get it. So, the premise is reasonably clever and gripping. It comes from a short story by Joe Hill, son of Stephen King. No wonder. No wonder this is a good film. The son of Stephen King wrote it. Okay, that makes so much sense. But any viewer up on their tales of missing kids in deceptively idyllic small-town America could be forgiven for mistaking this real place for one of King's haunted Maine burgs. Mean bullies, abusive and neglective grown-ups, tween losers racing away on their bicycles. It's all very Derry. for it. In fact, the movie often plays like another Stranger Things delusion, watering down the paperback thrills of literature's reigning master of horror into an inferior throwback substitution. Do we mention that the grabber lures his play with a bundle of black balloons? Hill, to his credit, doesn't offer quite so many blatant nods to his father's work. It goes into talking about different things in the book. The Black Phone, which similarly steers into the occasional 8mm stock detour, only gets a few drops of genuine suspense from its familiar conceit. The ending is an easy layup, all but guaranteed to inspire applause, but it could have really killed if the grabber's gauntlet of terror, well grabbed, as harder throughout. Let me read that sentence again. I feel like I even understand that sentence. The ending is an easy layup, all but guaranteed to inspire applause. But it could have really killed if the grabber's gauntlet of terror, well, grabbed us harder than throughout. Okay, yes, that makes more sense. The guy's an eerie mask in search of a bona fide bogeyman. He's no more genuinely unsettling than what you'd find lining the strip mall shelves of Spirit Halloween. And to pull back the film's own Pennywisian mask of derivative fright-making is to find nothing much underneath. Basically, they were bored. I don't know. They were bored. I agree. The ending is very much like applause-worthy, but I still thought it was great. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised. It wasn't nearly as scary as I thought it was, like I said, but I still really enjoyed it overall.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, should we go into how many?
Clapping boards?
Yeah.
Sure. How much do you give it?
4.7.
Ooh, why?
I think it's a horror movie. I want to call it horror. Thriller, suspense movie that I will watch over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. I will watch it right now, right this second. I would. And I will watch it again tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Honestly, it's such a good movie. And I think there is a lot that you can explore and a lot that you can understand after seeing it for a second time. Mm-hmm. I think it's just great.
That's good. I think I would give it like a 4.5. I really liked it. Again, I enjoyed the true crime nature of it. I think I would watch it again to see if I missed any other clue.
And I think it'll be interesting to see it now that you know what happens.
And how it ends, yeah. Because, I mean, I loved all the ghost parts. I thought that was really well done. I like how you never know which idea is going to get him killed and which idea could actually help him succeed in escaping. It's just, I just really enjoy stories that bring all the details together at the very end. No character is unimportant.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, what I really enjoyed about this overall.
Yeah, so a 4.6 overall between the two of us, and I think it's definitely deserving of it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It was great. I recommend you all watching it if you haven't already. I'm assuming it'll be on streaming platforms soon enough.
It's going to be in HBO eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe. Is it a Warner Bros?
No, I think it was Universal.
Okay, then no.
Either way, it came out in June. It's now August. It should definitely be on some streaming platform soon. If you haven't seen it already. It potentially could still be in theaters for all I know, but definitely try to watch it when you can.
Yeah. Well, anything else?
I feel pretty good. I recommend it. If you like true crime, I think this will be perfect for you. If you don't, then at least stay for the ghosts, because those are really
If you don't like true crime, I think it'll still be perfect for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you so much for being here one more time with us in another episode of Enka, and we'll see you later on this week.
And cut!